So the RGP has also its limitations. The procedure is difficult to do in cases in which bladder is involved with diffuse inflammation or neoplastic changes, since you need to identify the ureteral orifices during RGP. And changes associated with bladder outlet obstruction may result in the angulation of intramural ureters, thereby making it difficult to cannulate. So attempts to cannulate the ureteral orifice may result in trauma to the ureteral orifice and extravasation of contrast material into the bladder wall. So for complications, usually backflow would occur during RGP when contrast is injected under pressure and escapes the collecting system. So contrast may escape the collecting system by one of usually four routes. First is pyelotubular backflow, where the contrast fills the distal collecting ducts, producing the opacification of the medullary pyramids. Next is the pyelosinus backflow, where a tear in the calyces at the fornix allows the contrast to leak into the renal sinus. Next is pyelolymphatic backflow, wherein there is opacification of the renal lymphatic channels, and also the pyelovenous backflow, where you may be able to visualize the renal vein. So potential implications of backflow include the introduction of bacteria from infected urine into the vascular system and absorption of contrast media, which could result in adverse reactions in susceptible patients. So care should be taken to inject under low pressure to minimize the probability of backflow and absorption of the contrast into the vasculature system. So next would be lupography. It is a procedure performed in patients who have undergone urinary diversion. Historically, the term lupogram has been associated with ileal conduit diversion, but they may be used in reference to any bowel segment serving as a urinary conduit. So the ileal conduit urinary diversions usually have freely refluxing ureterointestinal anastomosis. Um, Hence, the ureters and upper collecting systems may easily be visualized, and they can be performed with a low risk of systemic absorption of contrast material. So for the technique, the patient is positioned supine. An abdominal plane radiograph is obtained before the introduction of contrast material. A small gauge catheter is inserted into the ostomy of the loop, advancing it just proximal to the abdominal wall fascia. And then the balloon is inflated up to 5 to 10 cc with sterile water or plain NSS. And then there is gentle introduction of contrast through the catheter, distending the loop, usually producing a bilateral reflux into the upper tracts. So oblique films should be obtained to evaluate the entire length of the loop. Because of the angle at which many loops are constructed, a traditional AP view often would show a foreshortened loop and could miss substantial pathology. So a drain film should be obtained, which may demonstrate whether there is obstruction of the conduit. So for the indications, they can evaluate infection, hematuria, renal insufficiency, or pain after urinary diversion. They can also be used to survey the upper urinary tract for obstruction and for urothelial neoplasia. And they can also be used to evaluate the integrity of the intestinal segment or reservoir. So here is a sample lipography of a normal ileal conduit at the left side. And here at the right side, you would see a obstruction at the uretero-ileal anastomosis. So next would be the retrograde ureterography or the RUG. It is used to evaluate the anterior and posterior urethra. They are particularly beneficial in demonstrating the total length of a urethral stricture, which cannot be done through cystoscopy. They may be performed in the office or in the operating room before performing visual internal urethrotomy or formal urethroplasty. For the technique, the patient is usually positioned slightly oblique to allow the evaluation of the full length of the urethra with the penis placed on slight tension. And then a small catheter may be inserted into the fossa navicularis with the balloon inflated up to 2 cc. And then the contrast is introduced via a catheter tip syringe. Usually, you would use the balloon of the Foley catheter or a Brodny clamp, and then you introduce the contrast. So here you would see the different parts of the urethra through the RUG. So for the indications, usually you can use the RUG to evaluate urethral stricture disease. You can determine the location and also the length of the stricture. You can also assess for the presence of foreign bodies, evaluate penile or urethral penetrating trauma, and evaluate traumatic response. So here is the sample of an RUG um, showing a urethral stricture at the level of the bulbar urethra. So yun yung most common site of strictures. Next would be static cystography, employed primarily to evaluate the structural integrity of the bladder. It gives information on bladder filling defects such as tumor and stones. So for the technique, patient is placed on the supine position, a plain radiograph performed to evaluate for stones and residual contrast and to confirm position and technique. And then the bladder is filled with 200 to 400 cc of contrast depending on the bladder size and patient comfort. So usually oblique film should be obtained since posterior diverticula or fistula may be obscured by the full bladder. And then a post-drainage film completes the study. So adequate filling is important to demonstrate intravesical pathology. So for the indications, it can be used to evaluate intravesical pathology, bladder diverticula, colovesical or vesicovaginal fistula, evaluation of bladder and anastomotic integrity after surgical procedures, and evaluation of blunt or penetrating trauma to the bladder. So abdominal and pelvic CT are so commonly used in the evaluation of blunt or penetrating trauma to the abdomen that CT cystography is often performed in conjunction with the trauma evaluation. But studies have shown that conventional cystogram is as sensitive as CT cystography in detecting bladder rupture. So here you can see a normal cystogram at the left side. At the upper right hand, you would see a fistula caused by the bladder diverticula. And also here you can see a vesico-vaginal fistula with the fistula tract over here. Next, the last part is a voiding cystourethrogram or VCUG. It is used to evaluate the anatomy and physiology of the bladder and urethra. It provides valuable information regarding the posterior urethra in pediatric patients. And it can also demonstrate vesico-ureteral reflux. So for the technique, it may be performed with the patient supine or in a semi-upright position using a table capable of bringing the patient into the full upright position. A preliminary pelvic plane radiograph is again obtained. So in children, a French 5 to 8 feeding tube is used to fill the bladder to the appropriate volume. In the adult population, a standard catheter may be placed and the bladder filled to 200 to 400 cc. So patient comfort should be taken into account when determining the appropriate volume. So then after filling, the catheter is removed and a film is obtained. So this is where usually the VUR is diagnosed. During voiding, AP and oblique films are obtained. The bladder, neck, and urethra may be evaluated by fluoroscopy during voiding. So usually you may also take oblique views since they may demonstrate low-grade reflux, which cannot be appreciated on the AP film. And they can also demonstrate bladder or urethral diverticula, which are not always visible in the straight AP projection. And post-voiding films should again be performed. So for the indication, usually they can be used to evaluate bladder outlet obstruction, reflux, and the evaluation of urethra in both males and females. So these are VCUGs, avoiding cystourethograms, showing different grades of VUR. So for the left side, it is a grade 1 VUR where the reflux is limited to the ureter. So this one, the middle, is a grade 2 where there is reflux up to the radial pelvis, but without dilation. Grade 3 is where there is a mild dilation of the ureter and the pelvocalyceal system. Grade 4, where there is a tortuous ureter with moderate dilation. There's blunting of fornices, but with preserved papillary impressions. And then lastly, the grade 5, there is a tortuous ureter with severe dilation of the ureter and pelvocalyceal system. So the limitations, the VCUG is a study requiring bladder filling using a catheter. It is traumatic in children and difficult in some patients with anatomic abnormalities of the urethra or bladder neck. And filling of the bladder may stimulate bladder spasms at low volumes, and some patients are unable to hold adequate volumes for investigation. So ito po yung last slide.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Koa,
Yes po, sir.
I'll give you a scenario. You listen very carefully. An adult male with lumbar pain on the left. An IBP was done. Creatinine was normal. Urinalysis, significant bacteriuria, and microscopic hematuria. PE, no palpable mass, but positive CBA tenderness on the left. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Now, contrast study was done, IBP or IBU, which showed grade 1 to 2 hydronephrosis. Hydronephrosis. But the ureter was not visualized. No definite lesion, opacity, or mass was seen. It was an indication to perform retrograde study, correct?
Yes, sir.
Retrograde pyelography was performed. Unfortunately, after an hour, the retrograde study was unsuccessful. They could hardly see the ureter or the ureteral orifice, almost traumatic. Senior resident was called and referred to a consultant. To no avail. What option can you offer to this particular patient? What contrast study? You get my point or question?
Yes, sir.
IBP or IBU, hydronephrosis, mild, but the ureter was not visualized. A good indication for retrograde study, which was unsuccessful. What can you offer? Another contrast study. Got it? Ay,
Yes, sir.
Governor Madrona. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Buti ka pa, bakasyon ka ng bakasyon.
Hindi naman, sir.
Dr. Koa,
Sir, I think we can do antegrade parallelogram, sir.
very good. What else? That is an option. What else? Forget the CT scan, the MRI, etc. The IBP is the only thing available. We are still in the third world country where some areas, especially in the provinces, CT scan is not available. Dapat maroon pa kayo ng IBP, maroon kayo mag-retrograde. Yes, antegrade parallelogram is an option. Any other imaging? To substitute to retrograde or antegrade. Short of the CT scan.
Sir, is it possible, sir, that we could do direct visualization through ureteroscopy, sir?
Through what?
Hindi makita yung orifice.
You know what? This is basic and fundamental. Are you familiar with the types of IBP? What are they? Si Gabi Mercado, kabisado yan. What are the types of IBP or IBP? Sabihin yung kung ano ito, hindi na ginagawa. I'm telling you guys, you may be practicing in the province or provinces where CT scan is not available. You should be familiar with this procedure. And you can catch the lesion by doing this procedure. Double dose or infusion IBP and wait for delayed exposure, 1, 2, 3, 4 hours until you can identify the ureter down. We did that before. Ask the patient to wait, be patient enough, place him in NPO with IV fluids, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, until the ureter is visualized. Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
High dose IBP, infusion IBP, or double dose IBP with delayed exposure. Kova, Dr. Kova,
Yes, sir.
how long is the ureter
20
measurement?
to 25 centimeters, sir.
How about the urethra?
In males, sir, it is 8 to 9 cm, and the females 4 cm. Sir.
Ilan cm ang male?
8 to 9, sir.
Parang maiksi.
Maiksi ba, sir? Baka sa inyo, sir, mahaba, sir.
It depends on the length of your penis. Loko-loko ka.
Ayos.
By the way, you know, when you were talking about this IBP, it reminds me of a case presentation at Maddox before. I was a young consultant then. We were invited in a case presentation. We were about 15 urologists plus the residents. Case presentation. During the IBP, hindi ko ito malimutan kagulo kami. The IBP, somebody at the back made a quotation. Wow, grade 3 prostate. What are you going to do, sabi ko? Suprapubic prostatectomy. Sabi ko, unfortunately, the patient is a female. What? Nakakita ka na ba ng intravesical filling defect due to the prostate sa IBP? Hindi pa. Hindi pa, no?
Yeah, okay.
You are not familiar with IPP anymore kasi yan ang very popular sa imaging sa urology before. Intravesical filling defect, grade 3 prostate. Sa propubic daw, babae yung pasyente. What could be that intravesical feeding defect? Female patient with hydronephrosis on one side. What do you think? Babae, Ganda nung kaso It was an adnexal mass coming from an OBGYN referral. See, pushing the inferior bladder to the point of having that patient compromised kidney on one side. In other words, before you interpret something, listen to the general data. Important yan. Kung practical exam yan, bagsak siya doon. It reminds me of another case in a practical examination. Ito, man lang, 3 or 4 years ago pa lang, practical exam before he becomes a diplomate. Kumusta sa practical, oral pala, oral exam. An oral examination before we were presenting imaging, including microscopic, including histological picture. Kaya ninalis na yan, pero the imaging, yes. This particular guy was taking the oral exam. When I presented an imaging picture, you read that imaging, interpret. Almost 5 minutes, hindi pa siya kumikibo. Alam mo, sabi niya, Sir, pag nakikita ko niyan, i-refer ko na lang sa inyo. What? At least give me what kind of procedure is that? Sir, I have never seen a picture like that. You know kung ano yung imaging ngayon? CT sonogram. My God, of course, he failed. Among consequence of that case, hindi alam ang CT scan. Be very, very careful in making interpretation or reading imaging. If you are not sure, consult a radiologist. That's what I do. If I am not sure, I call or I go to the radiologist and present the picture. That is their expertise. Tapos ka na ba sa presentation mo?
Yes po, sir.
Wala
Thank
na
you, Dr. Koa. Do we have more questions for our presenters?
Ano ba? May parto pa ba ito?
Wala na, sir. Off ng mic mo. Wala na, sir. I just like to make an announcement. So on October 15, we'll be opening our OPD once again, but we are required to pass a new process flow or protocol on how we are gonna manage this patient. So we're gonna meet with the other we're gonna meet with the consultant regarding our process flow once we open our OPD. So we're gonna tackle how many patients we're gonna see in one day. So previously we are seeing 100 patients every Tuesday and Thursday. And
You mean ang
gusto niya,
OPD natin sarado?
we base it on how the other hospitals do it. So upon checking with the other hospitals, they are doing 10 patients a day or once a week. So we'll probably talk about it, but that's our agenda for probably in another meeting. But definitely, since tayo yung pinakamadami sa OPD, Dr. Mateo wants protocol from us. So I'll probably schedule a meeting regarding this. As far as other topics are concerned, I think you did, since we talked about it last Monday, I think some of the consultants already did their evaluation for our pre-residents. So you can just send to me your evaluation forms. Do you have any questions regarding those agendas?
Comment, Rome.
So if none, will
Rome,
O si
No.
Dr. Uy.
Dr. Uy?
regarding doon sa OPD, Rome,
Sir?
regarding doon sa outpatient opening on October 15. Actually, October 13, we will be starting to have yung appointment, magiging operational na yung OPD appointment system. That's what we're going to do on October 13. Ano yun? Wala mo nang face-to-face. There'll be